My brother said, "You'll never be successful." Now he works for me. This is a story where blood bonds turned into betrayal, where sibling love was defeated by greed, and where patience brought the sweetest revenge. The story of how 28-year-old Michael was kicked out of his own family in 2014, and how he turned this betrayal into an unforgettable revenge 10 years later. In the fall of 2014, my father Robert passed away. He had a heart attack. He was 58 years old. He left behind our family business Riverside Construction, a medium-sized company that had been operating in the construction sector for 35 years, with an annual turnover of $3 million. I'm Michael. I was 28 years old. I was a civil engineer, had been working at the company for 6 years since university. My brother Danny was 32 years old, a business graduate, the company's financial affairs manager. Dad had left the company equally to both of us in his will, 50-50 partnership. On paper, it looked fair. A week after the funeral, Danny called me to the office. He had already settled into Dad's old room. "Michael, we need to talk about the future of this company," he said from behind his desk, as if he was the boss, not me. "What do you mean, Danny?" "Let's face this reality. I manage the financial side of this company. I handle customer relations. You only deal with technical matters." I was starting to get uncomfortable. "Danny, we're partners." Dad left it to both of us. "On paper, yes. But in practice, I should be the real leader of this company. You focus on engineering, leave the big decisions to me." That's when I understood. Danny's plan was to condemn me to passive partnership. "This is unacceptable, Danny. I'm also a partner in this company." Danny's expression turned cold. "Michael, you're still Dad's little boy. Big business is beyond you." In November 2014, Danny made his first move. He signed a $2 million project agreement with the company's biggest client, Richmond Group. Without consulting me, without inviting me to the meeting. "How is this happening, Danny? How can you sign such a big project alone?" The client was in a hurry. "You were busy with another job on site. Someone had to make a decision. But I'm a partner. Michael, I can't find and consult you for every small decision. This company doesn't work that way." In December 2014, Danny made his second move. He fired James, who was the company's general manager. James was Dad's right hand for 15 years, had known me since I was little. "Why did you fire James?" I asked Danny. "He was inefficient. Old staff aren't suitable for the new vision." The real reason was different. James was loyal to me, didn't approve of Danny making decisions alone. Danny didn't want this. In January 2015, I understood what Danny's real plan was. I learned from the company's financial advisor. Danny had injected $500,000 into the company under the name of debt. Not from his own money, but from a loan he took from his wife's family. In return for this money, he wanted more say in management. Legally, I had a 50% share, but in practice, Danny was managing the company alone. In February 2015, the final blow came. Danny called me to his office. Lawyer Peterson was sitting across from him. "Michael, we've made an important decision for the future of this company," Danny said. "We want to buy you out." "What do you mean?" Peterson opened the file. "Mr. Michael, your brother is offering you $200,000 for your 50% share. $200,000, 7% of the company's annual turnover. The real value of my shares was at least $1.5 million. Is this a joke, Danny?" "Michael, be realistic. This company stands thanks to me. The same work would be done even if you weren't here. $200,000 is a generous offer. What if I don't accept?" Danny laughed. "Then you'll have very difficult days, because there's no job for you in this company anymore." That's when I understood. Danny was trying to get me out of both my shares and my job. "I'll think about it," I said. "Don't think too much. This offer expires next week." That night at home, I thought, even if I took the $200,000, I would be unemployed. Even if I found a job elsewhere, I would have wasted 6 years I gave to my own company. But what really hurt was Danny's last words. "Michael, you'll never be successful. Dad always saw my potential as superior to your potential." The next morning, I called Danny. "I accept the offer. I'm selling my shares for $200,000. Danny was happy. "Smart decision, brother. If you need money, I can provide employment, for an engineer position, of course." "Thanks, Danny, but I'll chart my own course." In March 2015, I left Riverside Construction. Danny paid me $200,000. We shook hands and said goodbye. But Danny didn't know one thing. I had already prepared my plan. Although $200,000 seemed like little money, it was a sufficient start for me. Also, while working at Riverside for 6 years, I had built strong connections in the sector. Danny wasn't aware of this. In April 2015, I founded my own company, Mitchell Construction. I started with small-scale projects, house renovations, small office buildings. When Danny learned this, he called, "Michael, are you starting a rival company?" "No, Danny. I'm just earning my own bread. Don't try to steal Riverside's customers. Don't worry, I'm not in your league. This was true. Riverside was doing big projects. I was dealing with small jobs. But this was my strategy. For 2 years from 2015-2017, I grew Mitchell Construction. I was producing quality work, delivering on time, focusing on customer satisfaction. The small customers that Danny neglected at Riverside became my customers. During this process, I was following from afar how Danny was managing the company. The sector is small, everyone knows everyone. Danny was acting with a superiority complex. He only accepted big projects, couldn't bother to see small customers. Also, he didn't have Dad's warmth in customer relations. More formal, more distant. In 2018, my first big opportunity came. Richmond Group was starting to have problems with Riverside. The project under Danny's management was delayed. The budget was exceeded. I met Sarah, Richmond's project manager, at a sector meeting. "Michael, how is your company going?" "It's going well, Sarah. We're growing with small but solid steps. As Richmond, we're looking for new contractors. We have problems with Riverside. This was a golden opportunity for me, but I didn't rush. Sarah, my capacity is full right now, but we can talk for next year." This was a strategic answer. Looking too eager was a sign of weakness. In 2019, Richmond Group gave me my first big project, an $800,000 office building. The first big job that Riverside lost and Mitchell won. When Danny learned this, he went crazy. He called me. "Michael, what kind of business is this?" "Richmond was our customer." "Danny, free market. The customer goes where they want. You stole my customer." "I didn't steal anyone's customer." Sarah contacted me. The panic in Danny's voice was obvious. For the first time, he was facing a real competitor. From 2019-2021, Mitchell Construction grew rapidly. After Richmond Group, other big customers came too. I increased my employee count from 15 to 35. Danny's Riverside started to shrink. They were experiencing customer loss. Problems were constantly arising in projects. Danny's management style wasn't working. In 2022, the critical moment came. Riverside was experiencing a major financial crisis. The $500,000 loan Danny took from his wife's family needed to be repaid. Also, they were paying penalties due to delayed projects. Danny had no choice left. He had to sell the company. In November 2022, Danny called me. His voice was very different, humble, desperate. "Michael, I want to talk to you." "Of course, Danny." "About what?" "About the company. About Riverside." We met. I had never seen Danny so exhausted. His hair had grayed. His face was filled with lines. "Michael, you know I'm in a difficult situation. I need to sell Riverside. I'm sorry, Danny. I also want to make you an offer. Are you interested in buying Riverside?" I smiled inside, but didn't let it show on my face. Exactly 7 years later, Danny was asking for help from me. "What terms are we talking about?" $1.2 million. This is a very generous price. The company's assets, customer portfolio, name rights, $1.2 million. The real value of the shares he forced me to sell for $200,000 in 2015 was now much more. "Danny, what's the situation with the company's debts?" "Total $800,000 debt. If you give $1.2 million, I get $400,000 clean. So actually the company's net value is $400,000. Danny was uncomfortable. "Michael, the company's potential is very big. You can bring it back to its old days." "I need to think, Danny." That night at home, I calculated buying Riverside and merging it with Mitchell Construction was strategically logical, but the terms would be mine. The next day, I called Danny. "I accept the offer, but I have conditions." "What are they?" "I'll pay $1 million. I'll take on the $800,000 debt. You get $200,000. Danny remained silent, as much as the money he paid me in 2015. Also, I continued, "You'll continue working at Riverside as general manager with a monthly salary of $4,000. "Michael, that's very little money." "Danny, free market. You agree to the salary the employer determines or you look for work elsewhere." At the beginning of 2023, we signed the agreement. Riverside Construction was now part of Mitchell Group. I was CEO, Danny was general manager. On the first day, I called Danny to the office. Dad's old office was now mine. "Danny, welcome to the team." "Thank you, Michael. We need to talk about the future of this company," I said, with the same words he said to me in 2014. Danny understood. He noticed the irony. "Let's face this reality," I continued. "I'm the owner of this company. I make the big decisions. You focus on operational matters." Danny nodded. "I understand. This company works this way, Danny. I hope we don't have problems." In 2024, Mitchell Group reached $8 million in turnover. Danny still works as general manager. He's actually a good employee, as long as he doesn't do management. Last week, we met for family dinner. Danny's wife, Michelle, told me, Michael, Danny is very happy working with you. He constantly says my brother gave me a second chance. I smiled. There was something Danny didn't remember. In 2015, he told me, "You'll never be successful." Now I pay his salary. Sometimes the greatest revenge is being successful enough to make the other side contradict their own words. When Danny kicked me out of the family company, he thought he was right. 10 years later, when I bought the same company and gave him a job, he understood. I never failed. I was just patient. My brother said, "You'll never be successful." Now he works for me. And the most beautiful part, he's still happy with this situation because he no longer knows the weight of responsibility. He just works with a good salary. Sometimes the best way to punish people is to treat them far better than they absolutely deserve.